And then you have one movie where a TIE fighter goes through hyperspace and 1 billion people will stand up, point, and go, that's fake. You've ruined it.
This lady gets pulled over by the cops for speeding.
Okay.
And comes up to the window. You were doing 55 in a 45 zone. She's thinking to herself, oh no, I'm not going to get a ticket. She kind of unbuttons her blouse a little bit. And, oh, officer, I thought police don't give tickets to pretty girls. He goes, yeah, we don't. Here you go.
Welcome to the Two Gaming Dudes.
Willow, episode 6 and 7. Skellin, Prisoners of Skellin, and Beyond the Shattered Seas.
Tell me, there's only 8, right?
I hope so, because I can't do this much longer.
It gets hard.
For the past 3 episodes, I've only been hanging on for the sake of the show.
For this show. So that we could tell you how awful this is.
Until The Last of Us starts on HBO next week.
Right. Okay, let me tell you this. Up until episode 6, I didn't like the show. I didn't outright hate it. I thought, all right, I can tolerate it, I guess. It's not the worst. I mean, it is bad, but it is not the worst thing. And then episode 6 happened, and it suddenly became the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
That might be because I don't like Christian Slater, but mostly I think it's because of the trolls.
Well, so Eric is trapped in Immemorial City, and the trolls have captured Kit and Willow,
right?
And they take him to the Dread Mines at Skellin.
Right.
And they're locked in a cage with this guy, Christian Slater, who claims to be Mad Mardigan, but later find no, he's this guy Allagash, who was part of their party. And he claims Borman betrayed them. And Borman says, no, you betrayed us. And you never really find out who bastard
betrayed
who
doesn't matter. And then the trolls show up. If you remember the trolls from Willow, they were these snarling beast things that were just guys in suits because it's the 90s and that's the best we're going to, or the 80s, I'm sorry, that's the best we're going to do. But still, they were these snarling beast-like creatures.
Yeah.
So they show up, and I think the lead one is Jon Stewart. I'm not sure. It's just some British dude.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, hello, welcome to the troll dungeon. I hope you don't mind. We've only got crumpets today. And like, what is happening? What is happening?
So the trolls are now these effete, kind of feminine guys in Sasquatch suits.
One of them gets stabbed and is like, oh dear, I think this might be a fatal wound. And,
which I suppose some people might find it funny, but they're no longer these scary threats. They're a joke now.
Yes. Okay, so 1, you've turned them into a joke. 2, you've broken your own rules, which is like the quickest way to really just kill your fantasy world. You set up certain rules, and you can't then turn around and break them. For example, and I always use the TIE fighters as a great example. TIE fighters can't go through hyperspace.
Right.
And we all said, okay, that is agreed. That is the rule.
And for a bunch of movies, they never did.
And then you have one movie where a TIE fighter goes through hyperspace and 1 billion people will stand up, point, and go, that's fake. You've ruined it.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Because you broke your rule. So that's what happened to me when suddenly the trolls showed up and started talking, and I'm like, no, you broke it. You broke your world. Oh, I was so angry. It was the only thing I could focus on for the rest of the episode.
Well, and that's okay because the rest of the episode is stupid. Nothing happens. The rest of the group is going to put together a rescue effort, and they dress up like trolls, and they go and they rescue them.
I guess.
And then they go down to that lava pit, but it's not lava. And Kit drowns, and Allura has to use magic to make her pop up out of the lava pit. And she does.
And then that's the end of that episode.
And
also Christian Slater. I just don't like him very much. I think what it is for me is he's got this smirk on him, like always. He can never get rid of that goofy smile. It is with him always in every movie. And in some things it's fine, like when he's some skater dude, sure. But in anything else, it's almost like he's looking at the camera going, I'm in a movie. I'm in a movie.
Yeah. That's what I did when I was in that episode of Entourage. I looked right at the camera as I'm passing R. I just went, it was awful.
Just smiling all the time.
As Wayne put it, yeah, we watched your episode, and you walked past like, oh shit, did I just walk into a movie set? Anyway, it didn't bother me as bad as it did you, I think for a couple of reasons. One, I stopped caring.
Yeah, you'd already given up, so it
Episodes
doesn't
ago.
matter anymore.
I mean, 2 episodes in, I was like, this is garbage. I don't give a shit about this. So when you break the rules and throw in Christian Slater and give me guys in a Sasquatch suit, whatever, the damage is done. You lost me a long time ago.
This is all par for the course, yeah.
Creatively, I'm not sure why you took your threat and turned it into a joke. I don't know what, maybe they thought the Crohn's monsters are scary enough.
We don't want to
Even though they
scare the
don't do
children too much.
anything.
They don't.
And they're worthless. They don't do anything, but that's what they did. So that's what they did. And then Edge of the Shattered Sea.
Okay,
They
so
or Beyond the Shattered Sea. I'm sorry.
Beyond the Shattered Sea, which that was the only episode out of all of them so far, the only episode that almost felt like they were trying, that actually almost had Willow-esque elements. It wasn't as silly as the others. The silly moments weren't over the top. They were subdued a bit more. You had puppets. You had, I don't know, just other magical elements and fun elements that made me think, oh my gosh, this kind of feels like Willow. Not the Eric moments, because those were stupid, but the voyage moments when they were out on the sea and traveling. I was like, this is kind of cool. It's kind of neat.
Okay. Even though,
And
just out of the blue, what's his name? What the hell's the guy's name? Graydon. He just out of the blue. Okay, you're magic too.
I mean,
All right.
I saw them hinting at it, but I thought it would be a little bit revealed before now, or there'd be something that would make him, I don't know. It was just out of nowhere.
Well, anyway,
and
so
everybody was just like, yeah, that just happened.
Sure, yeah.
Whatever.
So Eric is still trapped in Memorial City, and there's a girl there, Lily, and they start talking.
I didn't give a shit about
And the main group reaches the edge of the sea, and they have to find a way to cross, and they meet some guy who can take them there. And then I don't understand what happened. Why did they kill him?
Kill who?
The boat guy.
Oh,
They're in the guy's tavern, and then they see somebody behind the bar, and they're like, we have to get out of here right now. And they kill the guy and steal his boat.
and then all of a sudden there were monsters.
What happened? Why did they betray that guy?
So that happens a lot in this show, where something just happened, and it must have either happened off screen or the set is too small, so you couldn't see everything. And then all of a sudden they're running, and then there are monsters. Like, when did this happen? So I really don't have a clue.
And I don't care enough to go back and watch it again.
I'm definitely not doing that.
For some reason, they kill the bartender and steal his boat. I'm sure they explained it somehow, or thought they did. Anyway,
They did not.
so they're across the Shattered Sea, which is just a very shallow mud sea, really. And there's some conversation in between. And Lily is flirting with Eric back at Immemorial City. And then they reach the edge of the Shattered Sea, and it's a waterfall.
Which I thought was kind of clever. I was like, oh, hey, we've reached the edge of the world.
But, they'd already told you the only way is to walk past the edge.
Yeah.
It was obvious to me that you have to jump off the cliff. And Elora and Kit jump off the cliff, and they're at the Memorial City. And then Eric comes out, but he's got a haircut, and he's wearing cool leather, and he's smiling at them like a pedophile. Roll credits.
Roll credits. I want you to imagine, we'll imagine Lord of the Rings, okay? Imagine Return of the King.
Okay.
And the moment where the king walks out, like towards the end, he walks out, and the hobbits all bow, and then he looks at the hobbits and he says, hey, you ain't got to do that shit. Just like that. He just says, you ain't got to do that shit. And then you play Britney Spears, Hit Me Baby One More Time.
Right, yeah.
So in this fantasy world, when Eric's on the ground and he wakes up and he's looking around and he literally says, bitch, where you at?
Right.
And I'm like,
Lily, where you at, girl?
yeah, where you at, new girl? I'm like,
Oh,
what? And then it ends with rock music again. They're not even rock, it's just pop music, just shitty music.
Pop, yeah.
Like, wow, it is everything you could possibly do to yank me out of a fantasy world and remind me, no, it's 2022. We made this now.
Even before, from the beginning, Kit's line delivery and everybody's dialogue is just,
Everybody's.
Kit always talks like this, and complain about that enough. And then you get to the end of the episode, and then they play the crappy music. The dialogue was enough not to let you enter the moment.
Yeah.
And if you did somehow get into the moment, that music takes you right out of it immediately. They've never established the feel.
Mm-mm.
And they never tried to.
No. And even the background music, even when they do get a chance to do orchestral music,
It doesn't match.
it's so muted and you could barely hear it. And it kind of sucks when you can hear it. And then I was on Twitter and I saw, hey, what do you think of the Willow music by James Newton Howard? And I said, bullshit. That is not him. And I had to look it up. And like, James Newton Howard, fantastic composer, great movies. It was just like, hey, James Newton Howard, we need you to compose a score for this thing. Hang on a second. Take a shit in the toilet, pull it out with both hands, throw it at them here.
You're talking about the orchestral score.
Of this show, yeah.
Because all the stupid pop songs, those are just covers of already established pop songs.
Yes, and they also suck.
I mean, they're perfectly fine as music, but this isn't where you do it.
Not here.
Like you can't give me the Mandalorian and show me a scene where Mandalorian and Grogu are bonding over MC Hammer.
Right.
It doesn't fucking fit. It won't work, and you won't get away with it. It's stupid.
Yes.
Why do you think you can do it here?
You can't. They're trying, but you can't. So it comes across as this weird CW thing, and
that's garbage.
So we'll have to look it up later. I'd like to know if anybody in the CW was involved in this, like maybe whoever was involved in music department or something. That was their credit. Well, I worked on Flash and Arrow and
a bunch of sitcoms when it was still the WB, the We're Black network.
Hello, my baby, glad that I caught you staring at the idiot box.
I don't understand what's happening to this show, or more accurately, I don't understand what it was supposed to be from the beginning, and I still don't.
No.
There's almost nothing good about it.
No, and there is no redemption for it. There is no way back from where we are now in this show. It's completely wrecked.
You've wrecked this property forever.
I think there's one episode left where we're going to have our grand finale. It's going to be awful.
Who's the main villain?
There isn't one.
Is it the crone or is it the worms?
I don't know.
Because they just introduced the worm as the ultimate evil. It's a worm that's asleep under the planet, and when it wakes up... Is that our main antagonist, or is it the crone, who we haven't seen or heard from?
I don't know.
Other than that, she's a hot girl in disguise now.
Yes, we have established that's probably the crone, right? The hot girl.
He said it's her. He already said, "Oh, it's you." She's like,
"You're the crone.
Don't hear me out." Maybe she had that conversation of,
"That's okay.
Maybe you should join me afterwards."
I wasn't paying
because it makes no sense why they kidnapped Eric to begin with.
No, it doesn't.
Maybe they should explain that now with one episode left. Was it to get Alora to come to them? Why didn't you just kill her when you were at the castle, kidnapping him?
Yeah.
None of it makes any fucking sense. It's just written by scene. By that I mean, we need a scene where they're getting chased. Okay, get some monsters to chase them. And then we need a scene where they're looking at this giant gate. All right, build a giant gate and have them stare. There's no explanation or story for any of it.
They would do this in Marvel a lot recently, where they would film all of they would
animate their
all the CGI
shit.
stuff way ahead of time. They haven't even started filming yet. Like, here's the big CGI fight scene. Put that somewhere.
Because it takes forever to make that.
Yeah, so somehow your story has to get to the CGI fight scene, then we're going to have a big kaiju fight, and then it'll end.
Kaiju.
Thanks for that. Okay.
I'm not prepared to call it the shittiest thing I've ever seen.
But it's pretty bad.
Incredibly shitty. Incredibly shitty. Shockingly bad.
And for me, I will say not the shittiest thing I've ever seen, but definitely one of the most disappointing things I've ever seen. Because I had a lot of hope for it.
I was so convinced, yeah.
Yeah, and it just killed me so hard.
We talked about our best and worst of 2022, and this hadn't premiered yet.
Yeah.
And we're
And I
like,
was saying,
we still have
hold
Willow.
on, hold
So
on.
we haven't
Willow's
seen this, but I don't think they understand that this is sacred to people, and I don't think they would just jerk it off.
Wrong!
I was so sincere. I really felt that.
I did too.
Like, no, they're
thought
not going to do that to Willow. This is...
I was like, okay, the property is small enough that someone really passionate about it is going to come in and turn it into something great. It's not like Star Wars or something huge where
all the executives are freaked out. We need mass appeal.
It must be perfect and like this. And no, this is Willow. My mistake.
It wasn't someone passionate about the project.
Not at all.
They treated it just like any other commodity.
Yeah.
Just commercialize it. What if it's not? Just commercialize it.
Other commodity, if not worse. Because I'm so disappointed.
I'm so sad about it.
Well, leave some comments down below. I want to know what you think of it. We haven't reached the end yet. Maybe by the time you see this, you have seen the end.
Come on.
Yeah, let me know. But
no
leave
more.
some comments down below and just let me know what you think of this show so far. If you hate it as much as we do, we understand. If you like this show, the hell is wrong with you?
Something's
but
very wrong.
let us know why, because I'm really curious to know why you think this is good. And
I can see someone young or old who doesn't have any, who never saw the original film and has no ties or connection to the original, liking this and watching it the way I watch a sitcom while I'm doing the dishes. Or a game show. It's on in the background. I'm kind of watching it, but I'm not invested. I don't give a shit.
Right. So for that, you're like, oh, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with the show. Did you watch it? I mean, more or less. I was doing dishes and playing World of Tanks, and then I'd look
Do you
up.
think it's better or worse than the movie? Oh, I don't know. I never saw the movie. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just a goofy, fun action adventure that I just kind of leave on in the background. I don't have to think about it too much. Okay.
All right. I hate them and I hate you.
Fuck. Disney just sucks, man. They never used to do this. Disney never used to put out substandard product. You had The Little Mermaid and Pocahontas and Beauty and the Beast. They were always just putting out outstandings under the Disney banner.
Under the Disney
You had
banner.
Miramax and their subsidiary Buena Vista, and you could put out bullshit. But
Well, you also had the direct-to-video stuff.
okay, but
Because I'm telling you, Little Mermaid had 2 sequels, and Aladdin had 3 or 5 sequels and a TV series, and all of it is just awful.
this is the latest
I don't
victim.
know. Yeah, sadly.
I'm really glad The Last of Us is HBO and not Disney Plus. Because HBO, they do not put out crap product.
They can afford to.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
That I'm really excited about. That was one of my favorite games.
Yeah, that is a good game. And
you got The Mandalorian in it. Oh my God, come on.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Damn it. It pretty much has to.
It's going to be.
All right.
Sure of it.
Leave some comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that. And we'll see you later.
Ciao.
Oh, God.